So I'd like first to introduce our first speaker and to invite David Marsh to the stage. David has worked for 30 years in Finland, developing, constructing, improving education. And he has in his CV an extraordinarily rich list in all areas of work, both in development, in publication. So with no further ado, David, please.
I would like to ask a favor of you, please. Last night, a very patient Kazakh language teacher tried to teach me something to say, and I decided to try and say it to you this morning at the beginning of this event. If you do not understand me, please pretend that you do to make my teacher happy, and if you do understand me, so be it. Kaila tan, konil kunis kalai. Thank you, I take that as a positive. Today, we have about 20 minutes for a presentation on innovation through integration. And actually, listening yesterday to the wonderful program in the morning and in the afternoon, I realized that this is, in a way, a summary of many of the key issues which came up yesterday. When we talk about innovation, we're not actually talking about invention. We're talking about renewal. We're talking about doing things that we have been doing, but doing them in a different way. And when we look at state-of-the-art schools in the world, they are constantly subjecting themselves to renewal. There is no standing still. There is constant renewal happening. So what do we know? What do we know about the benefits for schools, for education, of these processes of renewal? As from yesterday, and this is one of 7 facts, we know that the children entering our schools need skills, knowledge, competencies that not all of our schools are at this point developing for them. We know, secondly, that only a small part of student learning actually takes place within the confines of the school and within the timetable. So we know that we need to teach children how to learn. Thirdly, we know that emotions are a fundamental importance in terms of learning, that emotions drive attention, and that attention drives learning and memory. So if our schools are those which have negative pressures, negative forces, which act adversely on the young people, then we know something is out of balance. Number 4, we know the importance of the teacher. We know that the teacher's belief that their students can succeed, their belief in themselves that they are good teachers, their belief in the competencies and the passion of their fellow teachers, and their belief in the school itself is a fundamental success factor in terms of successful schools. And number 5, as we heard yesterday from a gentleman who I think called himself Dr. Analog, and I am an analog person myself, we are living in a new age with respect to the children and the students in our care. These young people are heavily influenced by a digital world, sometimes in some countries, perhaps here in Astana, a world where they spend more hours using digital devices than they do in school, and that these young people are changing. There are some bad things happening. We recognize them in our children, in our cousins, in the students that we have. There are bad things happening, such as an inability to concentrate. There are some things happening that we're not sure about. They could be good or they could be bad, such as the development of social intelligence. And there are things that are happening to this digital generation, these youngsters in our schools, that are basically probably positive, such as their willingness, their desire, their passion to learn collaboratively. Fact number 6 is that for many years, academic subjects have been in silos. They have been in fragmented, separated silos within the curriculum, especially in the secondary curriculum. Whereas these domain specializations are essential for developing the knowledge and skills required, there is an increasing demand now for an intellectual convergence across academic disciplines. Content and language integrated learning, CLIL, is an example of such convergence. Environmental science is an example of such convergence. Computational thinking and programming is an example of such convergence, as is this one, career navigation and guidance, which has been heavily developed in Finland in the last 10 years and is probably one of the most exciting curricular development areas now happening in state-of-the-art schools in Europe. The last fact, number 7. I don't know what the average age is in this room. You all look terribly young. But for those of us who have been teaching like I have for more than 30 years, when I was doing my training, we had far less knowledge about the impact of teaching and learning methods on young people than we do now. We know so much, and we need to know what it is out there that we can know. And one of those issues relates to this. The issue of making learning, whether it's at primary level, whether it's at secondary level, relevant. Not learning for tomorrow, not learning for the test in 2 months' time, but learning for today, for something that anchors into my understanding, my interests, my needs, making it relevant to me, even if it's hard, even if it's complicated. So what can we do? We can achieve renewal in even the finest of schools through considering, is it possible to increase the amount of integration which we have in our school, in the ecosystem of our school? Is it possible to take separate things and bind them together in a way which makes our school even better at fulfilling the needs of the young people in our care? And I want to give you an example from Finland, and it's related to a development that has had what we call a slow cook. It's something that has been cooking in different parts of the world for a long time, but particularly in Finland for probably about 20 years. And in around 2000, it became a major area of focus, and now it's a key area of curricular interest. And it has been influenced by the work of John Dewey, by G.H. Mead, by Richard S. Pratt, and fundamentally, it is this. The focus of this phenomenon is on intellectual development through recognized student-centered activities and methods. The focus is intellectual. It's not play-based, it's intellectual. And it is called phenomenon-based learning. Some of us were in the session yesterday in which this was introduced. And it goes like this. You take different subjects and you integrate them to create a single learning experience. Students look at a phenomenon from different angles, from physics, from chemistry, from geography, and it produces something which is very hard for even the finest teachers in this room to produce, which is what we call systems thinking. It enables students to see patterns and interdisciplinarity and not feel that they are locked into fragmented silos. It involves combining the knowledge of the different academic subjects the language, the logic, the discourse of those subjects towards focusing in on a single topic. For example, human well-being. Human well-being may take physics on the muscular system, chemistry, intoxicants, biology, nutrition, PE, physical exercise in terms of exercising the body, and social sciences in terms of lifestyle. If you take a subject such as lightning, which might be popular with younger children in the primary school level, then it may draw on physics, maths, geography, music, art. If you take a subject such as the environment, it may well take from chemistry, history, economics, social sciences. The topics are usually driven by the interests of the students. We heard yesterday that one way that this is done is that the students in grade 10 are shown the curriculum of various subjects, and they're told, okay, pick one topic, one phenomenon which appears in the curricula of different subjects. Physical well-being may well be one of them, involving perhaps maths, biology, social science. It may be survival of the species, geography, biology. It may well be sustainable cities of the future. Phenomenon-based learning has been embedded into the Finnish curriculum for certain reasons. One is that the pioneers of change in Finnish education, which has been very successful until recently, have been teachers. They have been the people who work at the interface of teaching and learning, in dialogue, in close dialogue with working life, with researchers, and with others. And about 10 years ago, educators in Finland, although they were very high in PISA, TIMSS, PEARLS, were saying, we need renewal. We need renewal now, because to be so-called at the top is not something that is sustainable. We need renewal. And phenomenon-based learning is one of those issues. So how is it done? The teachers need to enter this in a voluntary way. They need to work in small teams. In some of our schools, teamwork between teachers is very difficult because of timetabling, scheduling, tradition, and so on. It can be done at most grade levels, it can be done with most subjects, and crucially, it can be done very successfully with a broad range of young people with a broad range of abilities. And the point about the phenomena is that it must be something that can actually be studied intellectually from different subjects, which could include languages. Project management skills came up yesterday as a key 21st century competence. Working in teams, working collaboratively, working not only in a positive and good way, but actually working according to strong values and positive values. Positive teamwork is a key issue of development in this phenomena-based learning. Secondly, it has to be embedded in the curriculum. Looking at this audience now, we probably have so many pioneering teachers who've tried so many innovations that it would take a month for us to meet each other. We have in our schools teachers who have drive, who have passion. This is a key issue in terms of quality schools. But those teachers' projects will not continue. They will not be seen as valued unless they are part of the curriculum. That's essential for students, some of whom we call credit hunters now in Europe. It's essential for parents, who can be very demanding, and it's essential in terms of teachers. And then finally, what we were able to do with phenomenon-based learning, which we have not been able to do so easily in certain other subjects, is to develop innovative and powerful ways of assessment, formative assessment, and summative assessment built into the curriculum. So to end, In summary, listening yesterday, and I want to thank all of those speakers from yesterday for making that such a powerful first day of the conference. This is like the story of Apple and Nokia. Nokia, Finland. Nokia was a giant. Probably most of us in this room remember, perhaps fondly, our Nokia telephones. It was a giant that knew it was the best. It was a giant that believed it was the best. It was a giant that said it was the best. Nokia had smart technology way before Apple even woke up. They had it in their hands, but they didn't have the vision for renewal. They thought, we are so strong, we are so good, everybody tells us we're so good, it will stay that way forever. Nothing stays that way forever. Apple, well, you know the story. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a pleasure speaking to you this morning. Thank you. Thank you.